Well, welcome back, you beautiful spuds. I have yet another PalWorld video of some of my solo gameplay. And I have to say, it is only of my solo gameplay, because unlike other games in this, survival genre, I can't say I've played a whole bunch, but I have been playing, well, this game. Oh, you know what? How about we just leave this game? Yeah, this game footage right here. It's horrible. So, anyone who is a fan of this game, I am so sorry. I hated it. It was... Maybe I just don't know how to play this game, but it was atrocious. So with that said, I've played a little bit of this game and a little bit of this game. And of those two games, Valheim is as close to PalWorld in the sense of it's a survival resource gathering game. The other game I've been playing is just a side scroller, a very nice little game. These two games, I don't even really know why I'm mentioning it. I'm just kind of rambling. But the core issue is, what I'm really trying to say is my gameplay with my other friends of all my other PalWorld videos. I feel like if I show you the other progress I've made in the other games, beside my solo game, you're basically just going to be rewatching the same progression. And really funny enough, even in some of my playthroughs with some of my friends, we've built in almost the same way. So besides the house being slightly different or shifted or whatnot, it's really no point in me showing you the other stuff. And I guess if something cool happens, I'll do that. Unfortunately, I guess we're boring players because I've done nothing very drastically different to compare. So let's just stick with my solo play. That way nothing's being repeated. And that way I can 100% take all the credit for any weird dumbness. Any blame, of course, though, would still be on me. So I want to take all the credit or all of the blame. So anything and everything you see is my bad design and my creation. And I would have to say, so with this game, again, with Ark, I never really played a lot with many people either. So I kind of got into it. Ark is now getting kind of old, and that doesn't mean people don't play it still. But when I got into it, it was kind of already kind of past its prime. And the few people I did have to play with, they had it on the PlayStation, and of course I had to go and couch sit with them, so we were playing split screen. And when I got it finally for my Xbox, I enjoyed the game. I played it heavily. I tried to get one of my friends to play with me, and he tried it and then quit it. And long story short, I ended up playing for a long amount of time. This was before I was recording stuff, or even knew how to record stuff. So I don't have any of that gameplay. But what I can tell you is it got to a point where the game, without playing online with other people and not having a friend to play with, I kind of felt like I lost focus, and I just didn't like it anymore. No, I will agree, PalWorld is also kind of becoming in a situation where, due to my schedule with my friend's schedule, they're not matching up, and timing is just not really working out right now. And I've been super busy at work, and then I talk to my friends and they're super busy, or it's just the timing. We just can't get the timing right. So really the only one that I've had to play with recently is from my previous video, who I was playing with when he was potentially tried to be sniped from me, stolen from me, I should say. And and here's the thing with him. The last time we played, I kind of got a tattle on myself a little bit. He came over. We couch played in my game room. Maybe it's old school, but I still am very big on having people have people come over to my house, and I actually physically get to see them at the same time while we're playing. The convenience of playing with people online is great. You stay in your house, I'll stay in my house. And of course, sometimes I suffer for it because my internet isn't that great anyway, and having both people on my internet, and then my wife in the other room watching Hulu or Netflix or whatever channel has Law and Order on it. When she's over there on the same internet, we can sometimes come into the issue where the internet is already not great, and then three people using the same Wi-Fi can kind of make it bad. Going back to tattling on myself a little bit. The last time we played, I didn't really have a lot of fun. And it in no way had anything to do with him. Now, we were playing side by side. He had his Xbox hooked up to a secondary TV that I have, that I sit on my deep freeze when I have company. And I was, of course, on my Xbox. And so we were co-playing. We started up. And I, and I'm not mad, and hopefully he wouldn't be mad. But, like I said, tattling on myself. We kind of had an issue where it turned out I and him hadn't really talked about like not playing the game without the other one. So of course, from the time before that, it had been like 5 or so days since he had come over, or actually in that time he did play from his house. But the problem is he had been playing for every day since then. And like I said, I guess I didn't really make it clear. And of course, PalWorld does have that. PalWorld draws you into where you want to keep playing. So since he didn't have a solo map at the time, he just decided to just keep playing. And that's kind of where my problem comes in. And again, it has nothing to do with him. I completely understand that he wanted to play, and I don't really think I had really mentioned that he shouldn't play without me. So like, I'm going to chalk this up as I didn't communicate to him, and so just because I'm not having fun now because I didn't communicate, that kind of makes me a little bit of the problem as well, because I know 100% if I would have just told him and actually been upfront and said, hey, don't play this without me, he would have just made a solo world and everything would have been fine. But what happened is I didn't say that, and of course, come back 5 days later, and of course, from where I was, he had been playing several hours, many hours. Now, I don't know, it might end up in an ungodly amount of hours, but from where I was to now coming back in, he had already picked POWs for the base, he had set up another base, he had optimized the base for best performance, he had made a whole bunch of decisions, which is just what you do while you're playing the game. And it's not like you can, if you're going to play for all those days, there's really no reason why he would have not finished or done stuff waiting for me to come back, because that would just have made him not have fun. So I completely, I am bitching, but at the same time, there's a 100%. It just boils down to, the game is super fun, but you're going to have to just do without that person, and then when they come back, that's when you're like, oh, hey, yeah, you were gone, I did this, and this is what I'm doing right now. And for me, it just felt jarring, the last time I had played, we had gotten to a point where we were doing pretty good, and my one friend, he was definitely trying to set up, like, doing the house building and setting that all up, and of course, at a point, it comes to where, okay, we need metal, and where our base was, and just looking, instead of just running around and doing stuff, we really needed something that would long last, something that was like a good supply of metal. I got all my POWs that I wanted. I went out, I put my big boy pants on, and I went exploring. I found a whole bunch of POWs in the process, did some battling, had a great time. He was staying at the base, fixing it all up, because he's a little OCD about that, and I'm at the same point. I like base building, but at the same time, like, I was not having fun. So I'm like, hey, you do you, boo, and you make the house the way you want it, and you get this all going. I'm gonna go get us some metal. I'm gonna go do this. And I had a purpose. I had a reason. I went out. I found me a really nice place, and it had a huge amount of metal on it. That, of course, in the game, it'll respawn on you. I don't know if that'll always stay that way, but currently, it had like 8 to 10 piles, all clustered up. So I get there, I start setting up the place. I'm like, okay, we're going to have all of this metal. And then, of course, the game crashed. Tried to get back on, couldn't get on. Tried. And then it was getting late, so then basically, we just ended up quitting. And I was like, all right, well, next time, we'll get it working. And like I said, I hadn't really vocalized to not play without me. So 5 days later, I come back thinking I'm going to continue what I was doing. And that's done over. He's got a whole new stone base, or he's got a stone building over there. He actually dropped the secondary base there. And then he set a whole bunch of POWs, so he had this whole farm set up, and it was raking in all of the metal. We had smelters, he had a guy that was doing all of the cooking of the ingots. And then I start looking all around, and he's got this here, he's got that there, and like I just felt overwhelmed, and I think it's because of the game PalWorld. It has nothing to do with him. So I really want you to know, and I want him to know that I am bitching, but this is actually me bitching about the game itself. It has nothing to do, because realistically, the game should know that this is how people are going to play. So what I'm saying is the multiplayer aspect needs to be fleshed out a little bit more, in the sense that, like, as it is, it does make it, and I mean, as far as like playing without the other person, like, that's not the game's fault. But what I'm saying is like, purpose wise, I love that the bases have POWs and that the POWs do stuff. But like, a lot of that gets out of like the micromanaging, like where you have in other games that are survival based. I might need to still go get resources, but I was feeling like when I dropped in, and of course we didn't really talk about like this, so definitely the next time we play, we will have to talk about how when I come in, hey, what do you need me to do? Because that would make it more fun, and I think that was a problem. I didn't vocalize, what do you want me to do? It was one of those, oh, you're here now. Hey, do whatever you want. And with that, I'm one of those kind of people. I need to have a goal, and I don't want to step on your toes. And I definitely knew he didn't want to step on my toes. So sometimes I think he gave me too much free will, and I was needing a purpose. So when I come in and what I had been working on was done, and then it was just kind of, oh, just go ahead and do whatever you want. I fell back on, okay, I'm going to go out and I'm going to catch a whole bunch of stuff. I'm going to take all these supplies. I don't need to do any of the stuff I was doing. So how about I just load up on all the goodies that you've already done, and I'll go out exploring, and I'll do this. And then the game failed me, because in that sit down where I'm doing it, the whole game was just not working. So I'm trying to catch the POWs, and the POWs are phasing through the ball. So as I beat them up, and then I go to throw the sphere to catch them, phases right through them like they don't even exist. Also, I'm pretty sure our game is suffering from the widespread bug that everyone is talking about with the effigies of the souls, turning them into the power statue thing. Not only was I having a hard time catching because the ball would not register that it was going to touch the POW, like the hit bar just completely wasn't working. So you'd throw it and it'd be like, yeah, you didn't hit nothing. It just went right through them. Nothing. But then past that, when it did catch them, I'm catching things that are like level 5s with the first and second tier ball, and it's giving me like a 20% chance to catch on like all the way damaged. And even on the ones that say that it was higher, it still was having a hard time catching it. So I definitely think we're suffering from that bug, because he had turned in a whole bunch of them. And so instead of the game giving us huge amounts of buffs, which is I think the way it's supposed to, right now the bug is doing the opposite. So it's made it super hard to catch anything. So right now, unless we get an update, Pocket Pair actually fixes this. The only thing that I could think to fix this would just be going into the settings, and I don't know if that takes you off of multiplayer or not, but going into the settings and just upping the catch rate to kind of try to even it out, or just wait, like, because, the only problem with that is you don't want to make it too easy, but it's really just, like, not making it too easy, but I'm just thinking, like, how can we make it to where, because, like, clearly this is a bug, this isn't supposed to be how it is, so can we fix it manually until they fix it by just increasing our own capture rate and changing to get in the difficulty settings right before you launch the world. So by doing that, could we just fix it ourselves? But then that comes into like balancing, like, you're just going to have to guess how high to push it and all that. But, and I think that's the problem. Like the multiplayer aspect, they still don't have They still don't have PvP. Wow, I can't say that word. And I think resource gathering is very early game. Because like once you set up your base, if you do it right, all the POWs gather up all the resources other than the ones that you have to farm. Like, going to get the ancient technology points or fighting pals to get the organs, or, you know, getting the glands and like getting some of the other stuff. But like a lot of your main ingredients that everything uses, you can mass produce eventually, as long as you get your bases and your pals set up right. So like a lot of the stuff like in other games where like you still need other people, like, oh yeah, I need you, come into my world, I need somebody to gather this, I need somebody to gather this, we still need all that. Now you have it where the pals kind of do everything that you would delegate to, like, okay, hey, I'm going to be doing the building, or we can both do the building, but somebody's got to go out and get the resources. And like now you don't really have to do that. The only aspect that I see, and those are the things. You got the gathering the resources, then you got the setting up the base. And of course, I guess I could have just ran off and set up my own base, or I guess a settlement. But then, you know, your stuff deteriorates outside your base. So anything you build is going to eventually break down, which I don't actually remember that being a thing in Ark. Maybe your stuff just always deteriorates in Ark, but I just don't know, and I don't need to look that up. Like, you know, if you know and you want to tell me in the comments, but I definitely know that I don't remember that being a thing in Ark. So, and I know you can turn that off in the settings, and I actually am going to tattle on myself. I did turn that off for my solo gameplay, just because I like to build a base at almost all of the spawn points, and I've been slowly doing that, and just the ideal of it breaking down just seems too much for me. Now, I get it's an aspect of the game, but I do like that the game you can literally turn it off. So for me, that fits my playstyle. Now, I 100% understand that if the game changes, or like PvP becomes a thing, and in like other things are factored in, maybe I would change it. But like currently, just for what I'm doing offline, playing with myself, I would have to say it doesn't make the game funner. It would just cause an extra layer of shenanigans if I came back to a settlement that isn't within the limits, so it deteriorates, and I come back and it's all destroyed, and you're like, oh shit, it's all gone. Because the whole point is to have it there as a convenience, so if I need to drop stuff off, or I want a bed to sleep in, it's there. So it deleting itself after a while would just completely go against my playstyle. But I will say, I'm kind of all over the place, but I will say that PalWorld is really good about doing what these survival games do, and maybe more than just a survival game, but just gaming in general. This one makes it to where every time I sit down to play, I feel like you just want to keep going and going. My brain's always like, ooh, okay, I need to do this. And then, you know, you go, oh, well, to do this, I need to do this. So then you go over here. Okay, I'm going to start doing this. And sometimes you might get that done. Sometimes you might not, because maybe while you're doing this, you're like, oh, crap. All right, so before I do this, I need to go over and do this. It's like this vicious cycle where you're just running around, eventually getting stuff done. And then you get these large swaths these large sections where you feel like you're getting nothing done, and then all of a sudden, like dominoes, everything's done. You're like, oh, hey, I got it all done. You get these like long lists of like to do. You're like, all right, I need to do this, but to do this, I need to do this, and then that needs me to do this, and these two needs me to do this. And then when you do those, they just like all are done, and then all of a sudden you're back to that beginning. You're like, oh, hey, I did it all. Okay, well, now what am I going to do? And the best part about the game is there is another thing to do. So now you don't even think about it for a second. You're like, okay, now I need to do this. Like with me playing solo, I can do it at times when like no one else, like it's, you know, there's parts in my life like right before bed, because, you know, I have to divide my time how I do it, and I'm a social butterfly, so I'm hanging out with friends a lot of the time, and then the other half of the time I'm spending time with my wife, so I'm not neglecting her, but she's amazing in the fact that she lets me I get away with murder. I get to do a lot of stuff, and I would have to say that she's pretty cool in that regard, that she's always been very easygoing. I think both of us have been easygoing. Whatever, if you want to do something, you go do it. Like, don't worry about me. No, but we always have time where it's like, okay, hey, this is us. We need to spend time with us. But at the same time, and then of course we always do the he said she said thing. So, you know, maybe you know, I'm gonna call us out on it. Though the problem is not all the time is that true. But like 80% of the time, when I tell you I can't hang out because my wife wants me to spend time with her, sometimes that's true. Sometimes I may not just want to see you. I may not want to see anyone. I may want to just go home, curl under the covers, and cry because it's been a hard day. Now, does that happen a lot? No. But there's some days I have no sugarcoating left. I'm done. Emotionally drained. I just want to do my own thing. I don't even know what that thing is. I don't even want to be around myself. I'm so worn out. I'm just done. Not every day is like that, but there's some days. Some days you just feel like I always overbook stuff. I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing that. So long story short, as couples, there's lots of times I will blame my wife for things that she did not tell me I had to spend time with her. But I'm going to tell you that my wife wanted me to spend time with her. Even if you're listening to this and now you know, I'm still going to try to convince you next time I don't want to see you that it's not my fault, it's hers. She did it. She told me. But the problem is there's a good chance it could be her next time. And she does the same thing. She's like, oh yeah, Will doesn't want to do that. Yeah, he doesn't want to do that. I can't go because he told me no. It's actually one of the rarest things. I never tell her no. But, hey, if she's got to use that lie to get out of doing something, I'll be the bad guy. Be the bad guy anytime. All she has to do is look at me and go, hey, you told me no. I said, that's right. You better not do it. And, going back to what I was talking about, playing solo. A lot of the times, I'll be watching TV while I'm playing. And this is one of those mind-numbingly fun games. It's one of those mind-numbingly fun games where you can defocus. Now sometimes you do need to rein it back in and actually focus, especially if you're fighting something that is a little overpowered, like some of the little mini bosses, or you go into a dungeon and you're fighting it, then yeah. But for the most part, I just got my phone turned on, and I've been on Max a lot. And used to be HBO Max, now it's just Max, whatever. But I've been rewatching Torchwood, a pretty good show, the adult version of Doctor Who. Kind of. I mean, it's a sidestep. It's got John Burrowman playing Jack Harkness. It's one of many of the spin-offs from Doctor Who. I think it was released around 2006, 2007. I don't know. I need to look it up, but I know it was around one of those times because it came out a year after the show revamped. The Doctor Who came back and Christopher Eccleston took and brought it back. And rewatching it now, Torchwood, compared to when it first came out, I'd have to say that I have a better view of it now than then. I would definitely say that many of the episodes, I like them, and they're actually good. Several characters I feel very attached to, and I feel I'm giving it more of a chance now than when I did back then watching it when it first came out. Sometimes rewatching something years later and seeing it in a new light, It definitely can change stuff, and I definitely can see some of the stuff I complained about without any reason. Now I can see that they were, sometimes I think one of the big problems of the show is they never really locked in and had a direction that they wanted to go for. Season 1 had a very good structure. They kind of felt like they definitely had passion and they knew where they were going. And I don't know, without looking anything up, but it feels like either the show reviewed poorly, or they didn't have the view count, or maybe they had problems with maintaining. I don't know what it was, but you can definitely tell when they come back in season 2, there's a drastic tone shift. Many characters are kind of flopped around in their personality-wise. Some of the stuff that they had set, they kind of re-changed it, or they dropped some of the tones, and then ultimately they have 2 of the main actors drop out of the show by the end of season 2, kind of implying that they either wanted to be separated, they were done with it, or they didn't really care them leaving because the show wasn't going to have a 3rd season. But of course it did have a third season, so after leaving those 2 out, they kind of re-promoted one of the side characters and gave him more place, and then Peter Capaldi gets added in. Before he was the Doctor, but after he was the stonemason in the Doctor Who. Well, actually, you know what? Hold on. I'd have to look that up. I'm going to look that up right now. I could be wrong. It's one or the other. So you'll see it on screen. I don't actually know if he was in, because that was with Donna, and that's season 4. I don't know if season 4 of Doctor Who was out by season 3 of Torchwood. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I mean, you know right now. But yeah, season 3 was just, it seemed very tone shift, and it only had like 5 or 6 episodes. So clearly they either only had a very short storyline or budgeting or conflicting of schedules. I don't know. But season 3 was very different. And then of course you have season 4 that comes in and everyone is removed. Everyone, as far as I know, I'm currently on season 3 right now, watching it, rewatching it, I should say. I've seen all of these, but not having watched season 4 yet again, and I'm just going off of what I remember when I watched this back then. I don't remember any of the cast except John Burrowman being back in it. So only Jack Harkness is a recurring character, and the main character. Everyone else is all new casts, and the storyline, from what I remember, it really was bad, but I felt like that about all season 2 and 3, and I'm gonna be honest, rewatching it now, I don't actually have a problem. I can definitely see that maybe stuff, they didn't know where they were going, and some things maybe was missed opportunities, or maybe they just it is what it is. But I would say it was worth watching. Some of the episodes are quite good, actually. Okay, I just looked it up. I was so much younger when I watched this. This happened over 15 years ago. 2007-8 is when I watched that. That's actually 17 years since I watched season 1 and 2. And I think season 4 came out in, it looks like 2011, so that was 13 years ago when I watched it, and all of these I watched once and then I was done, and I haven't walked down memory lane since. So I was like 20, 23, 22, something like that. So yeah, 20-year-old me versus 36-year-old me, that's a long difference. Like, while I would have to say I don't know if I've gained much of an intelligence score through all these years. I would definitely say I've increased my wisdom score by a good amount, and that's really not me bragging, but like, I've learned a lot by just making many mistakes through the years. And sometimes, not always, but sometimes you learn from those mistakes. Sometimes you had to make them several times, but there's a lot of learning. And so with that long of a gap from my 20s to now I'm mid-30s, I have a very different position, and my opinion is not the same as it was back then. So many things that I was like, how I viewed episodes and thought about stuff compared to like now, I would have to say it's day and night. Like, I'm still me, but that's a lot of 13 to 17 years. I got a lot more going up in my head than I did back then. I think things differently now. So I would definitely say it's always good rewatching stuff from like your youth, or maybe not youth, but just going back. You watch something that you had an opinion about 15 years ago, and you watch it again, and if you've never watched it in between then to now, it is amazing sometimes how you can have a completely different opinion about something after that long. Sometimes it's just reassuring. Sometimes you can find, and that's where you get this like nostalgia, where you can rewatch something that was so long ago and you're like, God, that's still so good. Sometimes you can even like it more. And other people from, maybe a different generation gap, or just somebody who didn't watch it with the long, like, I just saw this for the first time, and you're watching something that you hadn't watched in 15 years. I don't have that big of an opinion about it, but for the other person, it's like, whoa, this is like a walk down my, like, just, oh my goodness, and it's a whole different tone shift. So if you're not at that point, hey, give it time. Give yourself another 10 years. Rewatch some of the stuff you watched and haven't watched in like 10, 15 years, and you're gonna go, whoa, I don't see that the same way. Maybe I'm talking out my ass, but I definitely feel like that's how it is for me. But regardless, I would say, I need to get back to talking about PalWorld, but I would have to say, check it out. If you're a Whovian, or you've never heard of Doctor Who, Doctor Who's pretty interesting to get into. It definitely, some people have good things to say about, some people have bad things to say about, some people have controversial things to say about it. I mean, we're just in That's the world we're in now. Everybody's got good and bad to say about anything. But is it worth watching? Yes, it is very much worth watching. It is very good. Watch all the way 2005 all the way to current, and I would definitely say make your own opinions about it. Don't let anyone discourage you from finding out yourself. Watch it. If you love it, that's great. If you don't, then don't watch it again. Don't recommend it to somebody. But don't waste your time and everyone else's screaming how you hate the show and it's not good no more. Why? Why do you need to be a hater? Like, if you don't like it, watch something else. And I'm going to tell you right now, you can feel that about everything. Now, of course, there always needs to be the ability to have something else that you can watch and enjoy. But I'm telling you, there's a lot of stuff. If it's not currently being made, I'm going to tell you right now, it's been made in the past. Just because it hasn't come out this year doesn't mean there isn't something in everyone's opinion that isn't something good to watch. So that's my little rant about people who rant. Like, all I'm saying is we need less hating and more just talking about the things. If you don't like what I like, that's fine. Who cares? I mean, you care. I care that you care, but at the end of the day, you don't have to be mad that I like something just because you don't like it. Like, let's both enjoy that you have stuff that you really enjoy and I have stuff that I really enjoy. And hey, sometimes just maybe we can have things that we both enjoy together and we can talk about them. That's all I'm saying. That's my piece. But let's get back to PalWorld. But I get off track a lot. I have to say, it is an amazing game. I really have been enjoying mindlessly playing solo. And I'm just going to reiterate, that's my only problem. The multiplayer part, it just, maybe when they add PvP, maybe if they change some of the dynamics, especially increasing the functionality of like loading into somebody's world. But what can we expect? They're still working on it. This game is fresh off the griddle. Many more updates to come. It just does things perfect in the way that it links many different concepts and ideals together. And like I said, solo play makes a lot of sense to me because of the way base building is such a key part of the game, and I almost feel like everyone should experience that. I would definitely recommend when you are sharing a world with somebody else, depending on how many bases. I've only got into where you can have 2 bases. I don't know if you can get 3 or 4 or however many it caps at, but I definitely say for each player playing, you should be able to have your own base, and then you should have been the one to design it. Whether or not it works or it's not, the other players shouldn't be able to bitch about it and maybe give you pointers, but I definitely think each person should have the ability to have their own base. Or if it's not a big deal, then just have your own solo map, because I definitely think that everyone should have a hand in making buildings and building all of the stuff, because it is intricately fun, going down the skill list and going, oh, okay, I want to build this. Oh, I'm missing these ingredients. Okay, now I need to go get those ingredients so I can build it. You're just seeing I got to go get these resources, and then you yourself never get to build that building, that item in the build tree. I feel like you're missing out on the excitement of being able to drop that new item that you just unlocked in the skill tree, and now you got all the resources you need. Now you get to decide where you're going to put it in your house, and I think each person should have that ability. I'm actually really intrigued to see how PvP is going to work. They have you can have 30 guilds, so I don't know if at some point they're going to have servers, which I guess is kind of like how Ark is, to where the game is always going, because I'm assuming that's how Ark goes, that there's dedicated servers where you can just jump on, and I need to actually do my own research, because I'm pretty sure, so I'm just going to be wrong. You can tell me if I'm wrong in the comments if you want to. But as far as I understand, I think all of your buildings and all your stuff have a timer. So when you jump off the server, I don't think anyone can damage your stuff immediately, but I could be wrong. But I thought there was a timer. Now, if it isn't, then damn, that would be sad, because if you have other people playing that would force you to never be able to go to sleep, never be able to not be playing, because you could log back on and find out that somebody else just came in and destroyed all your stuff, and because you wasn't there, none of your, I mean, I guess some of your stuff would defend itself. Other than that, you had no control into stopping them. I don't know if that's the right thing. I don't even know if that's how Ark was. I thought Ark had it a little bit different, but I could be wrong. But I also know Ark had it to where you could set up defenses, so that when people did come into your base, you would have a defense system. You just wouldn't be there. But I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be kind of like Elden Ring, where you have to gather resources, a limited amount of resources, and then you use those resources to invade a random person's world. And then now that you're in their world, you can run around and like damage your stuff, and your goal is to destroy as much as you can and steal stuff. Maybe. I don't know if you would take it back. I don't know how you would take it back to your world. I'm really confused how Pocket Pair is going to do PvP. It really does intrigue me. I mean, they have lots of options, but efficiently, I don't know how PvP is going to work. I know they haven't implemented it because, for the most part, they don't think it would be fair because they're trying to stop the cheating and the hacks and some of the stuff that, you know, there's bugs and stuff that you can do that they don't want you to do. So they're going to have that all fixed and squared away. And I think they're waiting, just listening and seeing what other shenanigans players, these are us beta testers, or whatever you call us, our early access players, what other shenanigans we get up to so that they can address that and like fix it. Going back, what I do like about PalWorld, like, I got complaints, but the great thing about it is with every complaint I have, there's still so many elements of the game that I love, that I keep wanting to go back to play, where, like, other games puff out. You know, the best one would be, like, Ark, that it's kind of ripping off. And one thing that PalWorld does that Ark doesn't do is one little function that is way better, and it's just, in Ark, you have this painstaking work of capturing, taming the dinosaurs in the game. And that's fun. It's so much fun. Going out there and getting this slew of all these dinosaurs, and you make them your pets, and you can make them do stuff and all the stuff. Very much kind of like POWs, but they didn't work exactly like POWs, or at least I didn't use them like POWs, but I knew you could put them to chores and make them do stuff. Well, this is what I think Ark did wrong, where or I should just say PalWorld did it better, is when you captured dinos in Ark, if you made a mistake or you did something dumb or just calamity happened, all that hard work, it's just gone. That dino was dead. He's dead. Like, I remember I had this one big giant dinosaur. It's this. Here's the picture. Yeah. Big giant, not a T-Rex, not a Velociraptor, kind of in the middle, kind of like birdie looking, and it doesn't eat meat, which was kind of weird. It caused me a lot of problem to find out that it was just wrecking my shit up. I tried so hard to get it, and in the end of the day, when I tried to, because you have to feed it to tame it, it didn't even take meat. It only eats vegetables and or like berries and that. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, this thing is a murder dinosaur, and it's not even like, I didn't understand that. But yeah, so I had that. But where PalWorld ends in that is it's also copying Pokemon, in the sense that Pokemon are these pocket monsters that come with you, and of course nothing dies in Pokemon, so it gets knocked out, and so you can have a whole party wipeout, and then you just get beat up, and then of course it fades to black, and the next thing you know, you're in a Poke Center, and it's like, oh, all of your Pokemon got knocked out, you have to start over now, and and then they get healed. Well, I love how they took Ark with like the dinos and all that, but now they're like, yeah, but all of you can have you can work your ass off to get this POW, and at the end of the day, even if you goof up royally, you get invaded, or you do some dumb shenanigans, or something happens, you don't feed it, or something, and it dies, guess what? You just have to put it back in the POW box, and you get a cooldown timer, and it's good as new. It comes back. Like, that's just a little function that could you imagine if PalWorld had went the other way, and all POWs could die? What do you think currently, with everyone playing, how different of a game this would be if they didn't take not only aspects of Ark, but aspects of Pokemon and smush it together? If they would have just stolen Ark in the concept of like how it played out, could you imagine taking your team of POWs to go challenge like the boss at one of the towers, and like every time you have one of your pals die during the fight, like they're dead. Now the next time you have to go fight, they're all dead. You have to go get more. You have to level them up. Like, that'd be ridiculous. And I just love how, like, PalWorld, like, that's something they did right. Like, I don't know if they thought about it, like, if that was even an option of, like, but just such, I don't know how else to explain it, but it's just that's such a, chef kiss. They did that right. And I just think it's one of those things, like, somebody could, there definitely would be players that would like a hardcore mode, or what is iron mode, as I think how XCOM calls it, where like if a character dies, they're dead. I don't know what it's called, but you get. Hopefully, you understand what I'm saying, or I'm trying to say is, I definitely could see somebody wanting that, but I think in this case, this is just a smart move to just make it play better, and you don't have to have that rage-inducing of like nightmare of going, now I have to go catch another POW. I have to go find another one. I have to go raise him up again. And maybe I got to get him higher level. And I have to do this all different. Because if I go back into that tower and he kills my whole party again, I'm rambling, but I'm going to just keep rambling. I mean, right now, you've either left the stream or you're still hanging on, which I understand. If you got to go, if you're not interested no more, hey, it's okay. I mean, I can talk for a long time, and some people even say I can literally talk to myself. I mean, I'm not going to confirm or deny whether or not I do that, but I'm just going to let you know. I get it. We're way down this PotatoStream now. If you need to hop out, you leave. But if not, let's keep going. So another thing that I really love about PalWorld is the POWs themselves and their weird, quirky personalities. I love the whole little system that they have at the base where your pals can literally get like bitchy, they can get hurt, they get moody, and it's funny. Like, they just have so much sass. Like, they're always telling me they're weakened, or it says they have to take a break. They're always in the hot tub. Like, they always, like, even their eyes. I love how the pals' eyes are so expressive. Like, when they're happy, you can tell they're fine and they're happy. And then when they get these, like, moody, or, like, they're just downright miserable, you can walk by them and you look and you see their eye, and the artwork is not, it's very subtle, but you look by and you're like, I'm a monster. Like, this poor pal just hates his life. I have him in the rock quarry, and all he's doing, his whole life, is just eating berries and sitting in the hot tub, and then the rest of his time he's breaking his back, making sure there's enough stone in my compound for me to use. And it's just funny. And what's really weird is, like, a lot of the other pals, I've had some problem with some of the bigger pals where, and you can clearly at this point have seen where my place is and how I got it. I got it mushed in with the ruins. It's a horrible place. I've doubled down. Like, I refuse to move now. Like, this is it. Now, when I make a second base, that's different. But this base, I'm just gonna work around it. But, with the limited spacing, some of the bigger pals, they don't want to work the way I want them to. I'm one of those people that's a day late and a dollar short. And if I'm showing my age there and that's not a saying, I don't know. I don't even know what a more modern term would be, but I definitely would tell you that I'm always behind on everything. So, let's see. Before I lose the rest of you, a couple more things to talk about. The medicine system in this game, like the whole avenue of like doing it, being able to heal your pets, honestly, I don't know. Like the whole quirkiness and all that with your pets, like I get it, but I don't know, maybe I'm just not finding the right supplies. Like almost all of the stuff to make the medicine just seems just not stuff that I'm getting, and I don't know if that's just something later in the game I'll be able to get more of. I always seem like I'll walk up, like I've been trying to get all of the supplies, everything that I can get, I've been trying to get and stockpile on it. Of course, if I need to use it, I use it, but trying to get every different type of resource and like having a steady flow of like, this is my pile, my hoard. This is what I got. And like every time I go over to the medicine box, it says I don't have the necessary stuff. And it's just one of those things, like, yes, I should then feel motivated to go out and get those resources for it. But then it always, every single one of them says, oh yeah, this doesn't heal you, this doesn't heal your pals. They don't have this whole intricate system for healing injuries, but they don't want to they're doubling down and saying you cannot, there is no real way other than a couple things of like pals, special moves. There's no way to heal in the game other than just resting. Like, I don't know if they're ready to do healing because I don't think they want it to be exploited. So instead, they've just made it to where, nope, you can't heal. There's no quick heals other than using a PAL and maybe something else that I haven't known. But currently, that is how it is. And I don't know if they're going to change that for PvP or if they just don't know. All right, so if anyone, one person is still here, I really am rambling now. Hey, look, thanks for floating with me down this potato stream. But look, give me a like, give me a dislike. Please. I don't care if it's a dislike. Tell me you hated it. Respond to me. But just let me know. I'm going to be honest. I would rather have all the dislikes than have nothing. Because the nothing doesn't give me an opinion of how you felt watching my stuff. Other than just indifference. You're just like, eh. And I don't want that. I want it to either be something you liked or something you hated. Maybe I'm just asking for too much. Okay, I'm really rambling. Look, you beautiful spud. You have a great day. No. Hold on. Scratch that. You have a wonderful day. That's better. And I will catch you on the next one. Later.